Welcome back to Wedlocked and Loaded.
Wedlocked and Loaded.
You women.
Do not lump us all in one category.
So you girls, and lie and stretch the truth and try
girls,
to get us jammed up.
First of all, I'm a whole ass woman, right? Think about
no
that.
No disrespect.
Sounds like it to me. So why can't y'all, what is it with men that they just can't walk away?
Depends how good it is. You don't want to give that away.
The conversation about your doctorate because people can't find your dissertation online.
Mm-hmm.
How are you responding to that in this new era of your life?
I'm going to clear it up once on here. I'm not doing it again. And I'm clearing it up for my doc squad, for my fan base, for my audience who deserve to hear me address it. For the folks who have already made up their mind to not like me or not understand me, listen, I don't give a fuck what your narrative is. I would like for you to recreate it, double down on it, and run that shit, because I don't give a fuck about it. Now, to my doc squad, my fan base, my folks, you know, my village, it's very simple. I went to a school, Argosy University, completed an entire program. I went back online to get my official transcripts because I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there. And I had to provide my transcripts, right, to get hired. And I went to contact the school and say, hey, I need my official transcripts. I need my entire thing. And there was no school. I was like, okay, I'm confused. I Google. It says this school has been shut down. I said, oh, well, they got to have records. I mean, they were accredited when I attended the school. They were accredited when I finished the program. I go and look, there is a third party that has the records. Why I contact the third party? That third party only holds records for 2 years. I was past my 2 years. So that means that I had no access to records. And then I contacted, financial aid. You can't make up financial aid. It shows that I paid for a doctoral program alongside my master's program and my undergrad program. And they said, we can fully refund you your money under one circumstance. We give you your money back. You don't get credit for not a class, a course, a program you took in this university, at this institute. So do you want us to refund you? Or do you want us not? I said no, because I didn't want to risk the chance of them saying, well, we're going to give you back your money, and it wipes out your entire program. Luckily, I had, I do this with all of the schools. I had downloaded from the actual student portal my transcripts at that time, and I was able to get just about all of my transcripts, including up to like dissertation. But everything else, there's just no holding take for any of our records, which I think is completely effed up. Just in general.
They are going to kill you online this week. They're going to say she has no records. They just want to hate you regardless. But
no, that's fine. And it's not even that there's no records that I don't. The school had a third party that carried the records only for a limit of 2 years. So it's not me. It's any student that attended Argosy. But again, it doesn't, how can I say it? It doesn't affect me, because if I chose to go get a license as an LMFT, I have my master's in marriage, family, child therapist. I have my hours. I can just take that and say, hey, let me submit these for licensure, and I want to go sit for my exam, and I'll have to do a study. I don't need a doctorate in counseling psychology to go get licensed as a therapist. That's what we're all missing.
Greetings, everyone. New episode of Wedlocked and Loaded. I am Daniel Loren.
And I am Leah Nicole.
Are you awake?
I'm here.
All right. Bailey?
I'm here.
God bless.
Absolutely.
All right. So we had our episode last week and got into a couple of conversations. Leah said some things that was disrespectful as usual.
Never.
And one of the things that we talked about was, what is a life coach? And we kind of got into that a little bit. We didn't get heavy into it because we wanted to have this conversation with a friend of ours who I think will be able to share a different level of light, and we can just have a more nutritious conversation instead of just like assuming and all this type of stuff. And then mixed with Cheyenne Bryant, or Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, the good old doc. There is a bunch circling with her in her interviews and comments that she's made and explanations she's given. So we wanted to, tap our family and have her chime in. So without further ado, from Conversations with Coach La, we got the one and only Coach La. So
Coach
we're gonna
La
bring
La La.
we're gonna bring her in right now. Like, boom. How's that?
Hey y'all. Hey y'all. Hey. Hey
Hello,
friends.
hello.
Hey,
So,
How y'all doing?
you not in the camera, sir? Just so you know.
Leah, I mean, how dare you? I know.
Hey, girl.
I just gotta love y'all. I'm just in the backstage laughing at y'all. You was like, I'll never. I'm like, good Lord, here we go.
It's ridiculous.
I love every minute of it.
So
Every minute of it.
we're gonna skip the pleasantries and get right to the business. We're gonna get right to the meat.
Typical man stuff, right?
Leah, watch
So
your
wait,
mouth.
but your audience may not know who I am though, DL. Like,
Oh,
why am I even here? And why do you think I can tell
okay.
them
Fair
anything?
enough. Well, we'll answer this because I'm confused. Weren't you on before, or you were just only on with the end of the year wrap up thing?
I've been on here 3-4 times.
No.
You don't think it was 3-4 times?
No. Was it?
No.
Don't ask me.
I think it was 3 or 4 times. I feel like I was on here twice, just solo me.
We did you
once. I feel like
that didn't sound right, but we. You know what I mean?
You just can't stay focused.
No, I mean,
don't be in the gutter with your thoughts here.
No, I didn't mean it that way, but once it came out my mouth, that didn't sound right either. But once it came,
just shut up. How about that?
I know.
So,
wow.
At the end of the day, we're unsure. I don't believe it's been 3 times.
But
go ahead.
With other people too.
That was with Sparring Minds.
Right, that was for the Diddy, and I feel like there was something else that we talked about.
I think we did the end of the year thing. I think we did the end of the year wrap up. So yeah, okay, so twice, but that was like collaborative. So we've never had you alone. That didn't sound right either.
Daniel, I just need you to focus and just like get it together. I just can't even.
All right. So okay, so let me do it this way, because I don't necessarily have your, because I was figuring that you've been on and I went through the whole thing before. So I don't have like the bio to read. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do it this way. So we know you as Coach La, right?
Yes.
We see you with the mantra and the belief system of bet on self. Right.
That's right.
We see pole therapy, which is blending spoken word with therapy and blending those worlds. You are a fixture on Urban Heat, right? And so you're holding it down in that space.
With Conversations with Coach La.
Yes, which is on iHeartRadio.
Yes, you didn't say that.
I said no. Why didn't
you? Yeah, it's okay. I got you. I'm just filling in the blanks. It's okay. Keep going, baby. You got it.
Jesus.
You're actually doing really well without having like a bio in front of you.
Yeah.
So, but the question is though, because I know you from these different things, but I don't know your actual education and letters behind your name and what gives you the right and the authority to be in these spaces. Right.
That's such a great question.
I take your word for it, and I figure that you are genuine. And so I love to have this conversation because it is now a battle of people are just saying what they are versus no, I'm in this. So
yes,
I want you to first clarify, your credentials, who you are, the letters that's behind your name, and what what is actually a life coach versus a therapist or psychologist, right?
That's a really, really good question. And I think given that we're going to be talking about Cheyenne Bryant, which if you Google her now, it doesn't even say Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
No way.
On the Google search profile. I feel like it said that before, and I feel like it used to say therapist, and now it says lifestyle guru.
Yeah.
So things have changed, which is why I think your question about credentials is coming up, right? Like, I remember working at a financial service company once, and a lady got fired because she lied and said she had a high school diploma and she didn't have one, right? This is why I think a lot of industries started doing background checks, third-party background checks to really confirm that you got your degree, and you can't just say it. So in a lot of places, you can't just say you have a doctorate degree without producing it, without actually them being able to confirm with the school that you were that you earned that doctorate or you earned that degree. So that being said, I have a master's in clinical social work. I also have a master's in business. I have a certificate in urban leadership. Um, my undergraduate degree is in economics, and at that time they switched it from Black History to Africana Studies.
Huh.
I am a life coach, and I took a program, and this is my full transparency. I did Coaching Training Alliance, CTA, I believe is what it's called. So this was before I decided to go to social work school. There was an online program. And what I learned about life coaching is that you did not have to get a certificate to become a life coach. It is not a regulated field, right? So most of life coaches are coming from lived experiences and what they know. So if you happen to have a undergraduate degree, you could do life coaching, but you don't even have to have a degree to be a life coach. It really is about lived experience. It's more like a professional, paraprofessional who decides that they want to be in the wellness field and help people reach their goals and hold them accountable. So it's really client directed, but it's about setting goals and someone sitting with you and holding you accountable to those goals. However, if you have degrees, credentials, that is going to make you a more sought after life coach, and it's going to give you credibility. It's going to give you notoriety and influence. So, I think that's the challenge with Cheyenne is that she has a great platform and she has a lot of influence. So people are going to go to her for her advice and for her counsel. Life coaching also can be more advice driven, more consultation than a therapist. A therapist is supposed to be therapeutic and not give you advice. It is a professional field that requires a license.
Sure.
And I think those things, and also it can be grounded more in symptomology, meaning more like on the side of medical. So diagnosing. You don't have to necessarily prescribe because not everybody that's in the mental health field prescribes, but a psychiatrist can prescribe. Um, I always get them wrong, but they are a um, nurse practitioner. They are a
Okay.
psychiatric nurse practitioner. They also prescribe. But for the most part, and some psychologists also prescribe too. It depends. But that's an extra level of credentialing for you to be able to prescribe medication.
Now, can you prescribe or no?
So I do not prescribe, but I am what they would consider a licensed independent clinical social worker, which allows me to have a private practice and to be able to provide psychotherapy.
That's what the LICSW.
Yes. So there's also a licensed social worker, which is an LC, but they're under supervision and they're not independent. So there's like two levels. So what's also coming up? So you get your master's in social work. That doesn't mean you're licensed. That doesn't mean you're a licensed social worker. That just means that you went to school and you got to earn a degree, a master's level degree in social work. That does not give you the license to go provide therapy. And I think that that's what people are sort of pushing back on Cheyenne about, is that having a license gives you a regulatory body that, and a code of ethics that you'll follow under. And it's also about consumer rights, and looking out for the consumer, right? So you can actually go and file a reclaim or a complaint, a claim too, because I also have to have liability insurance. So if you were to feel as I had harmed you, you could also, sue me you know, versus someone who's not licensed and doesn't have a regulatory body or anything of that nature, who's going to hold them accountable for what they say and what they do.
So have you ever referred to her as Dr. Cheyenne Bryant?
So interesting enough, I did. And this goes back to what you said about trusting that, you know, we are who we say we are, and that somebody wouldn't be representing themselves as a therapist, as a doctor, and they're not. What's in question now is, I think that her school is called Agassiz. Is it?
Yeah, it begins with I think Agassiz or Aldous. It begins with an A.
Yes.
And I guess it's shut down
it's now shut
the
down.
Records for 2 years.
You can't find her dissertation. You can't find any information to confirm that she has a doctorate. But I also saw she possibly may have an honorary doctorate, which is, you and I know, that's not the same thing as earning a doctorate.
Yeah, that's like Diddy.
Yeah, so a lot of people
away from him, but yeah,
a lot of people are getting these honorary doctorates, which a lot of people who have doctorates are really offended, because I thought it was because you had like a certain pedigree and a body of work, and you had done a lot,
skill set,
you know, to make impact, and it's heavily documented to record why you should get it. So maybe you've written several books and you've done a lot of
in that space,
research and articles, but you never, so you get an honorary doctorate. You've contributed to the field. Now it seems to be just out of popularity.
I think, you know, it's a much more intense version. Intense is not the word I'm looking for, but I can't find. It's a much more exaggerated version of people's issues with people getting like a day in Boston.
It is exactly like that, and how some people were getting upset and come to find out.
What's wrong?
You just
what happened?
You're fine. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What happened?
It's just the way you said it. But go ahead.
Well, no,
you said it what it was. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I think.
But what did you say, Leah?
No, I just said geesh.
It's just how I said it.
It's just like, you're comparing it to people who get a day in Boston.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
I think people don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And so in at the surface, on its face, getting a day in Boston seems as if this is something that's set in stone and it's special and every year is going to be commemorated. Right? Like we're getting a G. McGuire day, or we're getting a whatever day, right? Dr. G. McGuire, actually, right?
Right.
I don't want to be
but it's just that one day in time, and you have to apply for it again every year.
People don't know that. Similarly to like the Hollywood Walk of Fame, like you actually like you pay for that. You like lobby for that. It's a whole thing. It's not like someone just bestowing.
You gotta pay money.
And you gotta pay. The bottom line is you gotta pay.
Yeah. And so I think to have an honorary degree is just very interesting. And it like for the graduating class and you're getting someone to come and speak, it's nice. But what about the people that actually paid $100,000? You know what I'm saying? And they weren't in that space to enjoy that nice little fuzzy talk. Anyway, I'm getting off. I think when it comes,
but isn't it the misrepresentation of it? Because if you wrote in front of your name honorary doctorate, everybody would know what it is.
Sure.
Right. So like, I think what it is that for those who get honorary doctorates, some people will say, "Don't call me a doctor."
Sure.
It was just a recognition.
That's what you're supposed to do.
That's what you should do.
Yeah.
And speaking of this, so as of this month, Nigeria has officially banned those who receive honorary doctorates to put doctor in front of their name.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's honorary. I mean, but what has happened, a lot of people have now just started saying it. So ironic enough, when I started doing conversations with Coach La, people thought it was a gimmick. The whole your favorite around the way therapist, that this was all just part of my radio personality. It wasn't that I actually went to school for it. I didn't know that that's what people thought, that I was like posing as this therapist for personality's sake.
Interesting.
And now it makes a lot of sense.
I thought that, but I didn't. So I mean, I put it this way. I don't think I sat down and put that much thought into it of saying that she's a poser. Well, I mean, you're on the phone.
What is it, like a gifter?
Yeah. Like I don't think I thought of it that way. I mean, there are people that are absolutely full of shit, and so I can be like, yeah, he's full of shit, she's full of shit. I believed in what you were saying, and I never really thought about credentials and like, you know, some people are like a dog with a bone, and they are like dead set on, you know, having a gotcha moment. And so I never felt that with you, and never felt to research it. And I just, as we started getting to know each other, I'm like, oh no, she's legit. Right. I think originally I just thought it was, you know, it's no different than me and Leah having Wedlocked and Loaded, and we're not married. I mean, people could do. I mean, there are podcasts with couples,
and sometimes we are, and sometimes we're not married. But
oh, I love you guys. Yes.
But what I will say is, so for me, what's so funny is that I heard of you, you know, prior to meeting you and getting to know you. I've heard of you as a therapist, right? And oddly enough, like I didn't make the connection of it being you as being you being as Coach Law on, you know, on Urban Heat and doing, like I didn't connect you to those things. I just knew you as an actual therapist. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
So it is very interesting.
So, but that's
so clearly us when we are married, we don't talk, right?
Go in the living room and just like
you want to put baby in the corner?
Yes, time out.
Baby
ridiculous.
But it's interesting because
but it works then.
I was torn on doing a show because the scrutiny, right? And was it going to help or hurt my business in terms of being so visible? Would clients shy away from wanting a therapist that had a radio show and was so prominent in the community?
Yeah.
How would that impact me? So it's just interesting now watching the influence of certain therapists, but then now I'm thankful because if we don't speak up, the ones of us that are licensed and do this for real, we'll have more of the Cheyenne Bryants that'll just take over the whole social media, internet platform because they're brave enough, I would say, courageous enough to put themselves out there.
That's what you would call it? Because for me, I would call it foolish.
No.
Well, when I say that, is that for those of us that do have the credentials, often don't want to be as visible
at the forefront.
At the forefront, and someone who of her caliber, because they've also called her a colorist, and they've said, you know, that she's taking advantage of her looks.
Yeah,
for certain.
Sure.
And so there's all of these things where I think a lot of people who really do great jobs and are awesome therapists are not on social media, are not visible, nothing about them. And there's others that are doing a really good job with branding their workbooks, their products, their ebooks. And they're creating names for themselves, and they're making a lot of good money. When we are told when we're in school, you're not going to really make a lot of money in this field. And so when you have someone like Cheyenne Bryant say, you know, well, the only reason why you need to be licensed is so that you can bill insurance companies. And I don't want to do that because I want to have more flexibility and I want to be able to make more money.
But even, sorry, go ahead.
I look at, you know, younger people that are coming into the field that are looking for guidance and trying to, you know, navigate what they want to do. And she's somebody that people are going to look up to in terms of what she's doing. And she's writing books. She's on the Breakfast Club. Like, again, I'm just thinking about there are some that is going to have a higher weight of influence than others. And that's why it's dangerous, right? It's dangerous because there's some people that are not going to go Google it. And even if they Google it, they're going to call us all haters for pointing out the discrepancies in her story.
Yeah. Which I don't feel like, I feel like everyone absolutely should do their due diligence, right? In terms of researching who they are deciding to pay. Like for me, when I heard her say, she is choosing not to, you're not gonna like it, choosing not to like renew her license or have a license specifically.
Word on the street is she never had a license.
So this is the thing, right? But the way she posed it is that I choose not to renew it because I'd rather go private so that our people, us black and brown people, don't have to document when we have depression, don't have to document, and it doesn't stain your record, right?
Which, hold on its face, that's not, in theory, that's not a bad.
I'll tell you why it is bad.
Okay.
Right? Fuck a excuse me. Forget a stain, right? So if somebody is battling severe depression, who actually will need medication, who actually needs a deeper at the end of the day, I'll say who needs medication and who actually should deeper treatment, but who also should be labeled, right? Because the depression is so severe that we don't know which way they're gonna go, right? We also don't know, and a lot of times when we look at depression, we look at it as just a blanket as depression, right? However, depression can show up as bipolar. Depression can show up as schizophrenia. Depression can show up as a schizophrenic, bipolar person. Like it can show up in so many ways, right?
You're right.
But if you're choosing to treat them in a way where it doesn't stain their record, you're not really fully treating the individual how they need to be treated so that they can at least find some coping mechanisms to stay balanced in their mental illness at the end of the day.
Well, here's the other harm. Here's the other harm that I think she's not realizing, right? Is she's capitalizing on Black and brown folks' feelings with systems already. Our fear of doctors, our fear of being labeled, stigmatized, right? Like that's what we're all trying to debunk when it comes to mental health, that everybody is navigating mental health, that there's no shame in having a diagnosis, right? People are paying for insurance, and therefore, why shouldn't you be able to use your insurance because you're paying for it? So to tell people I only need to get licensed because I want to build insurance and I want to be able to give more access, and maybe some people won't be able to afford me, it just doesn't track, because we have to have health insurance, and mental health is a part of health insurance. So you should be able to find you a therapist that falls under your health insurance so that it's covered. We need more of us brown folks to be licensed and paneled with these insurance companies, not less, right? I get her point in the sense of like access, but she's charging $350
an hour, and on the surface it sounds good, right?
I don't know if it's an hour. I think it's
because I looked an
hour.
I looked on her. Yeah, well, I looked on her thing, and then she has like different things, and then she has like a financial academy or something. Did you see that?
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, she does have some other coaching academy or something where I think you can get
you can get loans.
Which also, like none of it.
So and
all in all, it doesn't make sense.
Hold on, Leah. So
okay,
because I don't want you to say something else, and then it gets to something else. This is in the vein. So to the point about you said it doesn't track with having insurance, and why can't I use my insurance? Like I worked at a dermatology office in Chestnut Hill, and right next door was a private practice where, yes, they took insurance, but also every year you almost paid a retainer. And I think it was like 10 grand, right? And you pay for, so there's anything, it was concierge medicine, right? So you literally would call them and they would make your appointments, they would do your prescriptions, they'll do all this stuff, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Right. So for me, I'm like, that's a waste of money. Well, for a person that has the access and they could do it, why not? So for me, yes, they are still billing through insurance, but I always looked at that as almost double dipping in a sense versus a person that can't afford that concierge. And so now they may not be able to get the same level of access and attention and amenities and all that stuff. So when I heard her say, I'm private practice, there's a place now that Leah and I were talking about that they don't bill to insurance and they're just out of pocket. I feel like that's a choice, and it could eliminate some of your base and your clients, but that's a choice that you'll take. Not every therapist is credentialed with Medicare, right?
Well, can I say this though? Me having my license doesn't mean that I can accept insurance. I can be licensed and be in private practice and still do self-pay. So like, to be able to accept insurance, yes, I need to be licensed, and I still have to apply and fill out paperwork to be what they call paneled with that insurance company. They have to accept me as an in-network provider. So it's two different things. Me having a license is showcasing to my clients a level of credibility and expertise. Right. It's like similar to people going out and getting plastic surgery. You're going to go get a plastic surgery with somebody who just says, yeah, I'm a nurse. And we know how that went down with you believing people were medical practitioners doing certain surgeries on people.
The fix of flats
and they had no medical degree. They had no medical license, right? So there's really not much you can do about it because they weren't licensed in the first place.
Right.
That's a great analogy. So so people that go to med spas and get Botox and all that stuff versus having a board certified.
It's very different. Absolutely.
And so that's a very similar analogy that I think is perfect.
Well, I think that when we look at, for instance, there's people who know how to drive, right? And don't have a driver's license. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you get in an accident with someone without a license and no insurance, you're screwed, right?
That part.
That's a great point. That's a really
good. So now it's going to be all on your insurance, right? Which is why insurance is so high in the first place. There's a caveat on our policies that says if you get in an accident with a non-insured driver, right?
Like we'll cover you. However, you're going to pay.
Will cover you, right?
Right. We'll
but
cover
the
you.
Reality of it is, we all know we would prefer that anybody that's on the road would have their own insurance and be licensed.
And we're all assuming that we're all playing by the same rules when we walk out the door.
Exactly.
We're no, I mean, like
you're hoping, but you're not. If you're assuming, then I'm
true.
Sorry.
We're hopeful that you wouldn't be doing that. However, I would assume that there are people on the road that don't have their license.
Sure. I mean, yeah. So maybe
that doesn't have it.
That does not have it.
I'll say it that way. I mean, it's the same thing with like
some people driving dirty,
homeowners,
as they say.
Like homeowners insurance. Like you assume that people have, but not everyone does, right? So
I think I want to go back to her just a little bit, and it's not even to harp on her in a disparaging way, right? But for me, like I'll say, like I noticed her. She's been on a number of different shows who I guess in some sense would have boosted her notoriety.
Oh, right? They absolutely did. Nick Cannon's show.
Nick Cannon,
Cam Newton,
Cam Newton, Shannon Sharp.
I didn't even listen to those. Honestly,
she's been on a few. And for me, right, like I wanted to believe her so much. Like she's been on tonight's conversation, giving advice to the people, you know what I'm saying? And not to say that you cannot give good advice without having
degrees,
any degrees or any letters behind your name, right? Or in front of your name, excuse me. Behind and in front, actually. However,
oh, that sounds good.
It really does. But what?
Oh goodness. You too. I have to really, reel it in because these are some of my friends. So I have to remember that this is
listen, okay. But the point I'm making is this, right? Like, so for me, she boasts I don't want to say boast, but she talks very freely about having been engaged twice, right?
Oh, she definitely boasts. I think she has a level of confidence in terms of what she speaks about and a level of authority that they would call pandering, right? She speaks to what us women want to hear often. And she's called out some of the men that I think we've had issues with. Like she went on there and she read them, as they would say, you know.
Listen,
Sam Newton, Nick Cannon. She was saying stuff that a lot of us have already previously said about those two men.
right.
But she
What we
got on
thought,
a national
right?
forum and did it.
Right. But also, you know, for me, like I'll talk about our marriage counselor, right? Our marriage counselor. He's married, has been for X amount of years, right? To a Black woman. And I think for us, that's important. You know what I'm saying? However, for me, I'm not going to take, and it's not that you can't give me good relationship advice, but it's going to be very hard for me to take relationship advice from you when you have had unsuccessful relationships, whether it be on your part or not. And here, and I'll say this, right? Because we also have a friend who gives great advice, right? But has been divorced twice. I can take that because you've earned that in terms of you've had these experiences that amounted to an actual marriage, right? A concrete relationship, I'll say. And you can talk to the points where you failed in that relationship, and you've also failed, and your partner failed, right? I'd rather take advice from someone who's been divorced multiple times rather than someone who has been went as far as being engaged.
And I feel almost the opposite. And I think that it depends on
someone that is so boisterous about it, right?
But so that's two separate. But that's two separate things. I think after I make this statement, La,
we can move on.
No. Well, La, unless you want to like chime in, we can then go to that clip because I just not clip, but the Facebook post that you tagged me in. I just read it just now, right? And so it kind of gets into this, but I used to just kind of walk around blanket where if you're not in a relationship, I don't want Leah hanging with you, or I don't want the influence.
If you're single, don't say like if you're single.
If you're single, right? I used to have that blanket thing. However, I started feeling like just because you are not in. What is that? Is that
an echo? Maybe her thing is.
Is that echo from me or you?
Oh, I don't hear the echo. But am I echoing? Hello.
You're not heard it?
No, maybe it was me. Maybe
I've been hearing it, but I thought.
If a person is in a relationship and a person has been together with this person for 15 years, right? Do I not put the same respect on the name because they didn't officially go and pledge their vows and sign those papers, right? Or if a person was married legally and did all those things and they were married for 20 years and now they're divorced, do I not hold that expertise and value in the same kind of way? And I also feel like relationships, and this is why I want, and so I know
that's different from what I said, but go ahead.
I don't think.
Yeah, because I thought we were saying you don't want her to hang out with people who were single.
Well, I'm saying I used to just walk around with that blanket, right? And we both know the same person and love him. But Dane, for example.
Oh wow,
Leah, God, yo.
I am not a name dropper, so I'm sorry.
Clearly, but like
I didn't know you was gonna drop a name either.
Yeah. So Dane, for example, right? And he is open about his ex-wife in a sense of the things that went wrong, where he went wrong, the things that he should have noticed, the things that she did, all these things. But someone who just feels like, oh, you're divorced, fuck you gonna tell me? That's not, he's giving great advice, right?
And to add, because I want to jump in that part, because I've had people say, how do you do couples therapy and you're not in a relationship and you haven't been married?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I value marriage and relationships so much that I'm not the girlfriend or the person, even outside of a therapist, that's quickly going to try to make you blow your relationship up. If anything, I'm the total opposite. I've actually helped more people stay married, stay connected, because some of the things people do is self-sabotaging and they don't even see it. So I'm a big supporter of healthy relationships and people taking accountability and really asking themselves, why are you in this relationship? And it being interdependent and not codependent.
So I would say,
so often I think you can think that someone who's married is going to give you good advice, but sometimes they can be very biased because there's so much about the covenant of a relationship that they totally miss some of the things that potentially could be unhealthy. I'm one of those people that's like, I cannot guarantee that you'll stay together by coming to therapy with me, but what you will do is walk away with insight, self-awareness, and hopefully if it does, you do decide this isn't going to work, you won't leave with hard feelings and feeling like the other person is the villain in this story, because sometimes compatibility issues are real.
Sure. 100%.
So I do agree with that. And so I think, you know, as I said, divorced, married, I might even be okay. I'm learning new things about my personal therapist each session. However, I'm okay with also taking having somebody who's single. And technically, again, since we're talking about her, Cheyenne Bryant, she is technically single, right? But for me, like if you are boasting that you've been engaged 2 times, right? Why didn't you see the signs beforehand before accepting that ring? And here's the other thing. I also get too that people change when they feel like they have you.
Yeah. And
men,
I think
men change when they feel like they have you. So I get that.
Right. She has some valuable nuggets because, again, initially I was listening to the things she was saying, and she does have a background in psychology. So she's still a very intelligent woman.
I don't take that away
from her.
That
as at some point, though, and DL might agree with me on this, you too may, probably Leah, we can get beside ourselves and we have to still check our egos. And not that I think that people have to AKA be humble. I think confidence is a beautiful thing. But the clip that you're going to bring up when she was like, you know, pretty much F anybody who doesn't like me or chooses not to like me. I think once you get to the level of influence that she's at, that's also harmful because you want new clients, don't you? You want new people. If this is my first time ever being introduced to you,
exactly,
and that is the energy you have,
I'm turned off.
I'm not yet a part of your tribe yet. You just alienated me because I have a right to want to know what your expertise is and whether or not you're licensed or not licensed. Are you did you earn your doctorate or is it an honorary doctorate? Because I'm a consumer.
And she's in the people business. It's not as if she is like manufacturing microchips to put in the cell phones. Correct. Like you are literally in the people business. And babe, will you come on?
Listen, I saw this post, right? If you only could tell people's therapists how they really are. I hope y'all therapists be watching y'all on this show to see how you really act.
Can I tell you something though? I think today, so we actually had a session before we started recording, right? And I think, well, you know what? He's been our therapist off and on for quite some time. And he's seen us at our worst. He's seen us at our best. But I think as of late, I'll say this. I know once I call it the fuck it 40 phase, right? So once I hit 40, it was the fuck it 40 phase. I don't care. I'm no longer trying to protect your peace before mine, right? I'm no longer trying to protect you before I protect myself, right? So like your feelings are very valid. However, mines are too, and I'm not going to sweep mines underneath the rug just so that you can feel good about yourself. Right?
And that was kind of what, when she said this, I always try to take a step back, and I was like, when you feel attacked and you feel like, people are coming for you and they don't have a leg to stand on, I could see maybe where the anger might be coming
get defensive.
from. The defensiveness. So I tried to understand that. But then I said, the way she carries herself and the way that she encourages other people to carry herself, I wouldn't have expected her to respond like that.
Sure.
So that showed her human side. That showed that even you can get rattled. You can get bothered and rattled. And I don't know why anybody would pretend to think that both the highs and the lows don't bother them. We're not immune to it because
we're human.
Of our level of influence, right? Like that was clearly that she was unbothered when she said, "This is the last time I'm going to address this." And I'm going to address this here, and I'm not going to address this anymore.
Which is not true, because she absolutely is going to address it again when she needs to.
She's addressed it a couple of times at this point. And you have a book you're trying to sell, and you want to be seen as an expert, and you want to be seen as somebody that people can trust and that they can come to you for advice and guidance. That's what you're in the field of mental health, right? You're in the field of wellness. You're in the field of coaching.
Yeah. So you know what? Before we get into the thing, let me play the clip really quickly, just so if folks are unfamiliar with it, we'll play it right now. All right, that's magic. So I'll insert it.
I should have took a longer pause, but go ahead.
No, it's good. So
no, I needed it, but go ahead.
Leah.
Go ahead. So
Merry Christmas, yo.
Happy New Year.
Jesus Christ. I can't even. All right, so look, so this goes
and happy birthday. I mean, are we just going through all of
them? So the post that a person put up and said it's not necessarily about, I don't remember exactly what, I don't know. Do you want me to like read some of it?
It's not about her credentials. It feels very personal, right? It feels like it's a personal attack as opposed to it being about her credentials. Because if it was more so about her credentials, then that's where the focus would be. But however, the focus is not on that. It's on everything else. And for me, well, I know for me, like I said, what raised the red flag for me was when she said what she said in terms of like she chooses not to be licensed because she doesn't want to stain the people's jacket, right? And it only raised a red flag for me because it's like, so as an educator, like when we go to school for education, we are taught that we need to be able to teach and reach the whole child. And by that means it's not just about the child that we are teaching from 7 to 3, right? But in order for us to know who this child is, we need to know where they come from, and we need to know how to communicate with the people that are raising them and understand the lifestyle that they live beyond the 4 walls of the school, right? As a therapist, I feel like that also tracks, right? In order for you to treat this person, be it you're teaching them coping skills or coping mechanisms, and even understanding who they are before you can actually treat them, you need to see the bigger picture. But by you choosing, and I guess I can't say that she's choosing not to see the bigger picture, but my primary focus, if I'm looking at the bigger picture, my primary focus wouldn't be on wouldn't be on focusing on the stigma that comes with mental health, especially now in this day and age, because the stigma isn't as prevalent as it was in the 80s, the 90s, and in the early 2000s.
Yeah, but I think there's space for her. I think, again, just think about the larger whole. Mental health professionals, licensed clinicians, we don't really care about her having a lane or her doing coaching. I think it's when she came for that, the only reason why the license is needed is just for insurance. That was grossly wrong, right? That's not true. That isn't the only reason for a license, right? When she said that she hadn't represented herself as a therapist,
which is
and
also a lie, because she did.
When indeed she did and didn't correct people. There's clips out there that I'm sure that people do just a little bit of research. I think even on the Joe Budden's podcast, she said as a therapist, if I'm not mistaken, she used that terminology to describe herself. So again, you can call yourself whatever you want. In this day and age, we got people deciding all kinds of things, and we have to just respect that that's how they want to be identified, right? And we have to respect it. But there comes a point where people who are licensed, people who do and have earned their doctorate are going to speak up. They're going to speak up. They're going to start to feel like they need to educate and affirm and validate the field, because that's what we also took an oath to do, right? Like, there's a responsibility that we have to our clients to not do any harm, right? And to come from a place of wellness, encouragement, and it's supposed to be therapeutic. So to have someone say some of these things, I think it made the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. And there's other videos of her talking about clients and things she did. There was a young lady that was talking about sexual abuse she experienced with her mother, and she asked her if she could give her a hug. And if you understand power dynamics, that was not the right thing to do, right? That was not the right approach. Therapeutic approach was to offer the girl a hug. You could say that should have never happened to you, right? You could say, you know what, I can't imagine what you've gone through. That must have been really hard. Thank you for even sharing that. That must have been difficult for you to share that even in this moment. I'm here to support you and listen, share at your own pace. It's just so many other things other than can I hug you?
Right. So, and I think hugging is also important. However, I'll say
so that's not like appropriate.
Fox, no.
Well, because of the fact that she said she was sexually abused by her mother, it was the person who put her in that position, and she's in a position of power and a female, right? And there was already violation there. That in itself could have felt uncomfortable because she just told you that she was basically sex trafficked. So you say, "Can I give you a hug?" That kind of can put her back in a place of not wanting to be touched, but not really being sure how to approach it, feeling like maybe she has to accept the hug, although she's not okay with accepting the hug.
I know I'll say this, and it's along the lines, but not, right? Like, for example, I was this was years ago, but I was at the mall, and I probably was in maybe 2-3 years in with my therapist, right? And again, off and on. But I felt like we had a really good rapport, right? Like, in the sense of I trusted her to do her job, right? I'm out at the mall. I've never ran into her out before, right? So I've only seen her in office. So never seen her outside of office. And so I'm in the mall and I'm walking by and I'm like, oh shit. Like, it threw me off because it's like, oh, I know her. Oh, wow. Okay. But how does this, for me, it was like, how does this work? Right? Like, do I act like I know you because I know you in a professional setting, right? Mm-hmm. Or do I act like I don't know you because of the professional setting, right?
Yep.
Even though in the professional setting, when we're together, we definitely vibe. You know what I mean? Like because I trust her.
So
right.
And so, like we made eye contact. She smiled at me, and I was like, I smiled back, but I kept moving.
Yeah.
And then I seen her again when I had a session with her. I was like, oh, like I honestly didn't know because part of me, and I'm not a hugger, so I'll say that. I will say this. I'm not. If I don't, because I'm a true believer in transference of energy. I don't like to touch people that I don't feel like I should touch. And I don't want you touching me if I feel like you shouldn't touch me. Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so it wasn't that I was afraid of her touch, right? Because again, like I said, we vibe. Like I trust her, right?
And she did the right thing by keeping her distance, because what we're trained to do is you actually determine what we do,
what it looks like.
You follow,
exactly.
We follow the lead of the client.
My therapist
so if you
told me
would have
that.
walked up and spoke, right? And because this has happened to me, if my client walks up and speaks to me, I will speak. If my client wants to hug me, right, I will oblige and give them a hug. But it gets sticky, right? And these are those things around boundaries and ethics. Even the fact that because I do a show and I know that I have certain clients that are following me. I don't follow them back, but I know that they're following and they're there. So I have to always sort of be mindful of the fact that I am also a therapist and a public figure and a staple in my community. They may see me in multiple settings. And this happens to a lot of people who work in the community, right? That you could be in a grocery store, you could be in a gas station, you could be at a gala and see your client.
I mean, one of the things I want to add is I don't want to shift it too much, and I want to we'll have some closing thoughts. Do you feel in any way similarly to
It's echoing again, but go ahead.
Go
ahead. It's echoing again, but go ahead.
Oh, do you feel in any way there's a fraudulency? Is that the word? Fraudulence? Fraudulence.
Is it fraudulent?
Well, no.
Unethical?
Well, so is there fraudulence with her that you feel similarly to a Dr. Umar?
Oh boy.
Oh.
And I say that because he's very vocal also, and people have picked at his stuff and who are you?
And that's another one, like inherently a lot of the things that Dr. Umar says is not always wrong, right? Yeah. There's some things that he says that are spot on, and then there's some things that are just out there, right? He's human, he has his opinions. Again, I don't know if anybody's researched whether or not his credentials are what they are, because we still calling him Dr. Umar. I don't know, right? I think for the most part, we accept that if you're saying that about yourself, then that is what it is, until it gets controversial. You start rubbing people the wrong way, and then they got to go look you up. Here's my thought, though. If you know your stuff is not squeaky clean, if you know that there's a possibility that what you're saying cannot be found, that's when I start questioning your mental health. Because if you know people can Google it and find out that what you're saying isn't true, or can question the validity of it, why would you do that to yourself?
Well,
again, I got my degrees up here on the wall. Again, I went and Googled today because she was saying on the Breakfast Club, Cheyenne was saying that her school only held her record for 2 years, and they offered to give her money back if she just would agree to not try to use the credits.
Yeah.
And I mean, again,
so did she take it?
No. Listen, but all of these things that she's saying, we can go look it up. We can go do our research and go find out. So what she did is she put a swarm of researchers now are going to fact check her because of what she said. Why would you do that to yourself?
Well,
I just took 2 seconds and Googled her school. Where do you get records from? And not only me, but that confirmed what 50 other people said about, one, the records don't just disappear. A government agency, third party, or another school has to take the records. That your dissertation gets published. And even if the school no longer exists, that it's published. I forgot what they said because I don't have a doctorate, but you can go look this up for yourself. So it gets published. Secondly, it gets printed and you should have a copy of it. So where she went wrong, if she would have went on the Breakfast Club with her dissertation, even the hard copy that she had written it, right? If she had said it's published here, if she had said, here's my license, I have a license here, right? Even if it had expired, you could go find it and it's going to say expired. If it's expired, you can't find any of that. You can't find it. And so now that you can't find it, you're now a lifestyle guru. You're now no longer doing it because of insurance. To me, I feel like it's smoke and mirrors. So I'm going to your question about it being fraudulent. I think that now she's looking like she's fraudulent, or it's making people side eye her now. I don't think that was initially what we were doing. I think initially we were like, this is a sister. She's beautiful. She's articulate. She got credentials. She's a doctor. And we were on board.
Yeah.
She got on board. And I was definitely on board. But when you start doing what she did today, and then I go look it up and I'm like, girl, what you doing? And somebody else said it. She should have had legal representation. She should have had somebody. You're getting too big to play like that.
She was too loud and too proud.
Somebody is going to come for you for real.
But I hate even, so I know why you're saying it, Leah, right? But the reality is, and I'm saying it
I'll tell you this. She's daring people to do so, right? But to your point, when we watched her on Joe Budden, you're like, whoa, I don't know no doctors that's going to have doctor, their name in their earrings and wear a dark necklace. Like, I don't know anybody that's going to do such a thing.
It was like a novelty. And she was talking about how she was getting like flipped around and you know what I'm saying? Like real, like
two different things, honey.
No, but like, again, so
well, you didn't see when she went to one of the awards for Jeezy, I think it was, and she had on
it was his concert.
With the panties and her butt cheeks was out,
and
people was questioning her outfit.
Yeah, it was a lace.
Even then, I was still saying, "Hey, she can do."
I'm okay with that.
Of course,
she can do.
But like, don't say that because I'm a man. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. The same way I was okay with like Pastor Brian's wife wearing what she wore.
Right, but
whatever.
But I go back to. Those things started to have it where people started to question her decision making. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
Do what you want, but that's going to make people start questioning because, again, I have a see-through lace dress too, and I had a different kind of garment underneath. My butt cheeks wasn't hanging out. I didn't have on a thong. You have a nice body or not, it's still a award ceremony. And again, she's going more entertainment route. So I even understand why she's saying, I don't want to be licensed, because guess what? She wants to do what she wants to do. Why not just leave it there?
Yeah.
Why say it's because you don't want to bill insurance when it's just you want to be able to do what you want to do without being scrutinized under a governing body? No problem. There you go. In terms of her license or her doctorate or whatever it is, she used another example, and I'm going to let this go. She said, you can't fake financial aid. I don't know how many people who have gone to school and owe money and never finished school and never got their degree.
But still owe the money. Once you take that loan out.
That analogy alone, I was like, girl, you talking to too many educated folks out here and people who have gone to school, taken out loans and didn't finish. And it says that you have student loans, but that does not mean that you actually finished and got your degree. Financial aid don't tell me nothing.
Other than you took out a motherfucking loan.
She used that to justify that she got a doctorate because she had financial aid and that you could see that she went to a doctoral program. And I was like, yeah, you gaslighting these people. And anybody who don't know probably gonna be like, yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, I think, to answer, not that it was like a real question of like, why would she do that? Or why would anyone do the things they're doing? I think that we are at a time where it's a high level of narcissism. And we are seeing it locally with some
Trump
folks.
Effect.
It's not even, I mean, I think that he has exacerbated, right?
But if Trump can become president,
Well, it makes anyone
then
feel.
she
I
can
mean,
call herself a
Not
doctor.
once, but twice.
but see, I feel like this is,
Whether
you know,
you
so
earned it
so
for
as
it or
as
not.
an artist, I tell people to this day, I still say it. When Mike Jones came out and when Soulja Boy came out, I was like, it's changing. Now people come like, oh, that's hating. And I know some of Mike Jones' music, I know some of Soulja Boy's music. Cool. But what it did was it changed the playing field of what can possibly win over. And I feel the same way. I mean, not to get into a whole other thing, but I feel the same way with Cardi. Cardi is unbelievably entertaining.
Yes.
But when you take the people that we grew up on, whether MC Light or Rod Digger, and these different people who took pride in writing, right, and that craftsmanship, and then you have someone that's not a writer and is just kind of reciting lyrics and being entertaining, and she has transcended to such a high level, then you have the slew of others behind her that want to be just like her.
I will interject.
But DL, you can't. This didn't
I'm gonna
start with
interject
Cardi,
there.
honey.
Yeah. So
That
here's
didn't
the thing.
start with Cardi. We've
No,
always
it
had
didn't.
ghostwriters
No, it didn't start.
and people picking girls that were sexy and cute and happen to have the ability to deliver the lyrics. There's a lot of people who got great pen and have awful stage presence.
Sure.
Right.
I mean,
so I think this is not a new phenomenon in the industry that some people do very well with entertaining, get in front of a crowd. You give them a lyrics and they can kill it.
A star is a
other
star.
People who has great, they can write like out of this world, but they are boring as heck.
Yeah. A star.
I think for Cardi, it's not that she's believable in what she's doing, right? I feel like the people that are writing for her, they understand who she is, and they are able to write specifically for her.
And she represents a great population.
Absolutely deliver it.
She represents a lot of people.
And being that I do spoken word,
she's relatable regardless.
I have a newfound respect, regardless if you wrote it, somebody else wrote it. Memorizing and delivering lyrics the same way every single time and being entertaining is not no easy feat. No. That in itself is a skill. She gets credit just for that, to be able to 100%. Get on stage and hold it down and be entertaining and remember all those songs, especially when she didn't write them, is a skill, right? And so I think when we look at all of it and we talk about that, that's why I said I don't have an issue with being able to understand how to brand yourself. Yeah. Brand yourself all you want. Get your clients all you want. Somebody said she should have went, what's his name? Oh gosh, the other really big time life coach guy. I don't know why I'm Tony Kevin? Robbins. No, Tony Robbins. If she would have went Cheyenne Bryant, if she would have went Tony Robbins' way as a female, a self-proclaimed expert, and she would have just did what she's doing now. Again, no, your opinions. Yeah. But she represented herself initially as a therapist. Yeah. In the mental health field. That is how she came into the field. And because of how she looks, she's a doctor, and she said she was a therapist. That is what got her on those shows that she got on. And I think it was a power play. You remember, she is cool with 50. She probably read the 50 Laws of Power. I think that she played strategically. Sure. And she put herself in the right places. And now she's coming clean because she's already gotten what she needed to get out of that title. She doesn't need it anymore.
But is she coming clean?
Well, she's not coming clean. She's stripping things off because she knows.
She's no longer saying she's a therapist. She's saying she's a lifestyle guru. So, she's going a different route, is what I'm saying. But she already has.
But it's not coming clean. She has to do it because she's doing it because she has to, right? Because people are. If she's doing it because people are questioning her and throwing her under the fire, and now, right? So, like, if this never happened, then would she really change that? Again,
but she went on to those platforms as a therapist. When she was speaking to Cam Newton and speaking to Nick Cannon, she was speaking to them as if she was a therapist. Then she went on to talk to Ray J. Yeah. And she was saying Ray J was one of her clients. And then she exposed Offset for reaching out, wanting to get support as a therapist. So you were not saying you were just a life coach initially.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
Again, even when she went on the Joe Budden podcast, I don't know when they actually recorded, but it was not too long ago that we saw that episode. And again, she's wearing earrings that say Dr. Bryant. She's wearing a fucking necklace that says Doc, right?
Yeah.
So no, you're not really coming clean.
So
but I think this is gonna backfire on her.
Well, it's definitely gonna backfire, and it's definitely gonna affect her book sales and the whole touring and the promotion of it. It's really no, definitely, it's bad timing.
I'm saying because I think that there's some people that might still want to. So some people,
bad press still gets you visibility. Is what we're saying, but I do think that she's trying to do a PR run.
Well, she needs to
counteract what is happening. But we know that it's going to have an impact. What kind of impact? This is not a good thing. Like, you don't want this kind of press.
She needs Olivia Pope, and so I think I think that in closing, I want to ask you this: going forward, any podcast or show that has her on and still chooses to brand her as Dr. Bryant, do you feel like that
she has to change that?
No, it's your platform.
Here's the thing.
So hold on there. Okay, so my question is, anyone that chooses starting today to have her on there as that and to have that written, do you feel like that's a high level of irresponsibility?
I think somebody just posted this, and I think that there is going to be a shift. I think this Breakfast Club interview, she should have probably rethought it. And a couple people said that. I don't know who her PR team or her lawyers or whatever, who they are. But I think that sometimes less is more. I feel like the same thing I told you about Diddy going and making the video, crying and saying he didn't do it. And then the video came out later, and like, sometimes you need to hush. I say the same thing about Clarissa Shields. Sometimes I think you need to take a minute, you need to breathe, and you need to just take a second to take in what's going on around you before you keep getting on these interviews.
But I want to talk about
that. What's her Lauren asked
Lauren
her.
LaRosa
asked her a very important question. I love how she's very brave. They didn't skate around the controversy. They said, how do you address no one finding your credentials, your dissertation not existing? She asked her directly.
Yeah.
Right? And she went into a whole nother tyrant.
She did the Trump weave.
Right. You can't take this stuff back because they're going to run it back.
Yeah.
People are going to go clip it up. Right? You said anybody who wants to change the narrative, F them, blah, blah, blah. You're only speaking to your supporters and your fans. Well, a lot of us
fans is crazy.
A lot of us I was a fan. When she first came out, I was like, okay, so some of the things she was saying, I shared some of her clips.
When you first recognized her, because it wasn't when she first came out.
No, right. When I first recognized her and she was getting on different things, I listened to some of the things and I didn't totally disagree. I am now having to take a step back and side eye some of your thing. And this blindly, because we're Black, we're just going to support each other, even if we're doing bullshit. It's not okay. I don't think she needed to throw all the other therapists under the bus for her to be able to rise to the top. I don't think she needed to even go there about licensure. She could have left that off the table. She could have just said, hey, I'm going private practice. I don't accept insurance. There's a whole lot of different ways she could have handled that.
That's what raised a red flag for me.
Would have been fine.
I'm not licensed.
Right? She could have said, I don't have my license. I'm a life coach. I do use my psychology degree. So there's a whole bunch of ways she could have dealt with it, right?
For certain.
But she didn't do that.
No, because
even with my clinicians that are now pre-licensed, on Psychology Today, it says pre-licensed clinician and that they're under supervision. They have to represent themselves that way. And I have expressed to them, people have a right to say they don't want to see you.
Sure.
Because you don't have your license yet.
Sure. It's like a nurse practitioner
or disclose it.
or
right?
physician
But
assistant.
once they know that I'm
Even a nurse
supervising them,
practitioner goes to a certain amount
that I'm
too.
supervising you, that might give you more
Different.
credential because they're like, you know what? I'll still see you because I know who you're being supervised by. I trust your supervisor.
Sure.
But they also can say, which is why it's always harder with pre-licensed clinicians to find clients for them. They'll go to the hospitals and other places that just assigns and you don't have no say so. But in my practice, my clients have say so. They get to say whether or not they're okay seeing you or not.
Yeah. And that's a tough, and the reason why I said it's the same thing, because working at the dermatology office, there are people that would want to see Dr. X and they're not available. And so we have a physician assistant that went through the, we hired them. Like, they went through our standards and we hired them. They still wouldn't want to see them. They still don't want to see the nurse practitioner because the nurse practitioner is not a doctor. I don't feel that way because I know that, like, there's still a process that people have to do. And sometimes you may not be able to get this person. And sometimes in the doctors that I feel like have the good bedside manner and believe in their team and credential their team, they'll actually say to you, no. They tell me what to do.
So also,
right?
and I'm going to second this. Here's the thing, right? So I have no problem with seeing a nurse practitioner, right? Sometimes I prefer them over the fucking doctor. You know why? Because they actually listen. They listen to what it is that you need to say and how it is that you are feeling.
Yeah.
Right? They take their time with you. They take their time with you.
And you gotta realize too, there's a certain number of hours that
you missed that.
have.
You missed that.
There is a certain amount of hours that you have to have
to be able to get to where you need to be. Like, there's teaching hospitals, right, where they have their residents and they are not yet doctors, but this is part of their journey. So yes, there's some people that are okay with you being a pre-licensed clinician. They know you finished school, you have your degree, but you're still under supervision and you're working on it, right? And then there's other people who are not okay. I try to make sure that my clinicians are confident in saying, here's what I know how to do. One of the things is, if you know how to listen, Leah, you just killed that, right? Listening to the client, big time. But when you over more than you knowing everything that's in the damn book in the first place, right? Do you let them feel human and that you care? And that is the first step, because I like my clinicians to have good bedside manner, right? Is, can you connect? And that is the therapeutic relationship. That's first, number one, out the gate. I can always help you behind the scenes with interventions and modalities. But if you cannot connect with the person and they don't feel like you care and they don't feel safe with you, it doesn't matter how much you know. There's people who are way more, I would say, articulate with diagnosing, and they can recite the DSM back and forth, but they can't keep a caseload.
But so here's the other thing for me, right? Here's the other thing for me, and we can end this really soon. Here's the other thing for me. I think that people in general, so okay, if you see the nurse practitioner, or the RN, whoever, you see somebody who is not the technical doctor, right? And they say, hey, well, this is what I believe. Based on what you're saying and what I'm seeing, this is what I believe. Guess what? You have the option of a second, third, fourth, and fifth fucking opinion, right? So I don't like what you're saying to me because I don't feel like you're understanding what I'm saying. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go somewhere else. It's not because I'm chasing medication. It's because, you know what? You're not doing what I feel like you need to do to understand what I'm saying to you about what I am feeling, thinking, or whatever.
Right.
And so for me, my experience, I've had some great doctors, but I also know that, like, I can spend 10 minutes with a doctor and on a visit that they're going to bill me out the ass for, versus spending 30 minutes with a freaking NP or even an RN, right? Who's going to actually listen to me and put in the notes that need to be put into.
Well, we have choice. And I think,
again, and that's the part that people don't understand.
That we talk about fraudulent or ethical. You as a consumer have to do your due diligence and decide what's important to you. And us as practitioners have to represent ourselves clearly so that you can do that, right? If I say I'm licensed and I'm promoting myself that way, people are going to believe that I'm licensed. They're going to believe that I'm a doctor because that's what I said until they go look it up. And this is what I think is damaging to our field, is that when you do that, they're going to be side-eyeing all therapists, and they're going to be wondering, and it's going to put scrutiny across the board, and it makes it harder when it's already a very scary place out here for people to figure out who's real and who's not. There's a lot of trust issues in our community as it stands.
Sure.
So I don't feel like we as mental health practitioners should contribute to that.
Sure.
Those fears that people already have of whether or not you are who you say you are. Can I trust you? Right? Are you in this because you care about me, or are you just trying to make money? And I get it. We do need to realize that we have businesses. I get that. We understand we go to a doctor that's a business, right? But we still want you to have bedside manner and make me feel like you care about my well-being and not that I'm just a billable patient.
Sure.
So I think we got to be mindful of that. And I think that's what's dangerous about how she's presenting it. I think it's dangerous that she's not acknowledging all of the practitioners who worked really, really hard for their licensure and for their education, and just minimizing it, that the only reason why we get it is just to bill insurance. I think those things were dangerous and hurtful. And that's why people are saying something. The amount of people who that are not even in private practice, but are still licensed, and they work at universities, they work in schools, right? And so do you want your children to be working with a non-licensed psychologist at school? That has nothing to do with insurance.
Right.
Can
I ask you a question? Go ahead. I have a question.
It's literally getting ready to.
I understand.
Okay,
really quickly.
So
all right. My question is this, right? So as a licensed therapist and a life coach, do you feel like there is possibly a I'm going to say clash, but that's not the word I'm looking for. What am I looking for?
Leah, the hell?
Do you feel like it's a clash? It's not the word I'm looking for.
Well, let me say this. I started with life coaching first because I had a life coach and I had a career coach, and the coaching was something that was I used to manage a bank really quickly. So I used to do financial coaching. So the word coaching was already sort of synonymous with helping people. Right. Mm-hmm. And so in my thought process, that's really where becoming a life coach came from. I will say that once I realized I wanted to work with at-risk girls, the question became, who's going to pay me to be a life coach for a 14, 15-year-old girl who's struggling or was sex trafficked or ended up in DYS? Like, who's paying me to be their life coach? So the reason why I ended up going to get my master's in clinical social work was to expand my knowledge and my expertise. And then I learned that there was that would allow me to bill insurance. So I could still get the best of both worlds. So for me, I would say, no, there's not the conflict of interest, but what it did is it increased my expertise and my knowledge and understanding of human behavior so that I could be a more effective practitioner, right? And it also allowed access to people who probably wouldn't have been able to access me because it would have been completely private pay.
I love that. Thank you for clarifying that.
That was a really good question.
I know.
Shut up, ma'am. All right. So I am going to tell the people your website. Because
how they reach you and all
the things. Because I'm gonna put it on the screen, but I want you to actually say it for the audio.
Yes. So it's www.iamcoachla.com. Is the website. You can find me on Psychology Today just by typing in Lakisha Austin or looking for therapists in Massachusetts. And I recently just signed up for blacktherapistmatter.com, which is another platform that showcases Black therapists, because there were only 2 therapists on that platform from Massachusetts. So now I made the 3rd therapist that's on
We
that
saw
platform.
you on there, girl. Go ahead, honey.
So again,
treat.
that's also access. I think the difference too of me having an MBA, which is a master's in business, is that I do pay for these platforms. And I think when you're paying for them, there's a certain level of expertise and follow through when you are paying for those type of platforms. Similar to Boston Wild Black, I pay to be on there too, so that people would know that, there's a Boston Wild Black member who's a licensed therapist, which is
Very
also
smart.
sent me
Very
business.
smart.
So I just think that we are business minded in a lot of ways. So that's why I don't look down on Cheyenne for being a businesswoman. I just think that this is dangerous to get rid of governing bodies if you don't have good integrity yourself. And that's what I'm questioning now is her own integrity. The stuff she's saying doesn't track for me. It makes me go,
Exactly.
Are you pandering? Are you a gifter? Are you really taking advantage of this now very popular mental health field that everybody is talking about is wellness and mental health everywhere you look? So, it's a $1 billion field.
It sounds like she's going for the Kanye school.
Anyway.
So on that note,
yeah, because I don't even know what that means.
It's provocative. It gets the people thinking.
Yeah.
Well, that part is true. I do think that this is a viral moment, right? I think a lot of these are soundbite clips, and that's the pandering of it all, right? You say the things that you know is going to grab the attention. What we know about marketing is that if it's gross, if it's silly, or if it's like something really outrageous, that's going to grab people's attention. If you think about some of the people who've come through recently as influencers that have blown up, they're very out there. It's almost like shocking. Like you can't even believe that they exist. And that makes you watch. That makes you comment. Right? And the people are playing into this. Like people make money off of engagement, comments, shares. So if you really got a good head on your shoulders, you can just sit there and kind of laugh that you can just make the society be a puppet.
Exactly.
You put this out there and they just jump on it. Look at them all running to it like little roaches. Somebody's gonna clip that and go, did she call us roaches?
Jesus Christ.
You turn the lights on and then everybody's scrambling. Listen, back in the day we had roaches. I haven't seen a roach in a long time, but I had friends who had roaches in their house.
Leah had a ton of roaches.
My man.
All right, so
listen,
never disrespect me like that, my nigga.
Listen, I love us all, but not everybody. Back in the day, some of us, it was poor. We was living in some not great conditions.
Yeah, roaches and the cornflakes. All right, so on that note, this has been.
But I haven't seen a roach in 20 years, 30 years.
But speaking of viral, let me plug my son real quick. Doc by Danny. My man had a video he posted. He created. He filmed it himself. He got 2 million followers. Check him out. Doc by Danny on TikTok.
2 million.
Go ahead, Doc.
2 million views. Excuse me. 2 million views. Yeah, hundreds of thousands of shares. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I need to talk to him.
Why you?
But you can also find me on therapist_coach LA. That's my Instagram page. But everything else is I am Coach La on YouTube and everywhere else,
Coach La La La.
Yes, and I'm turning 50.
Yes.
And you gotta do the SNL thing. I'm 50, yeah, and you gotta kick your leg up. And I could do this.
Yeah, you gotta kick that leg up.
And I could do that.
All right, Leah. All right.
And I can't see my leg.
We will see you soon, my love. Have a good night.
Listen, good night. I love you guys. Always a good time.
Always. Thank you so much for your insight and your input, love.
Yes, make sure y'all go bet on self.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sally O'Malley. I'm proud to say I'm 50 years old and not one of those gals who's afraid to hide her age, unlike some other gals. And I like to kick, stretch, and kick. I'm 50. 50 years old. 50 years old. 50.
Okay, all right.
Wedlocked and loaded.
Wedlocked and loaded.